Hello everybody, welcome to International Watercolour Masters 2024. We hope you're all enjoying the show so far. It's that good, is it? We hope you're all enjoying the show so far. Yes. Bit better. We'll just get a quick viewer check for IWM TV. How many viewing now? Wow. Do you want to say hello to them? They're all over the world. Hello. They won't hear that in Australia. It's a bit more like it. Okay, welcome to all IWM TV viewers, wherever you are, all over the world. You're very welcome. Joining our live audience, we're making watercolour history at International Watercolour Masters. Right. Our next artist, master artist, is a winner in our IWM 2024 contest. He comes from California. I've looked very carefully at his work. It's very consistent. So I thought, he's so consistent, I'll invite him to be in the show. His painting is beautiful. His painting is of his lovely wife, Chelsea, who's sitting there. Say hello, Chelsea. Hello. There. Not only is she beautiful, she can actually speak. Sorry. Okay, so hailing from California, please give a very warm IWM 2024 welcome to Win Ericson.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I am so honored and privileged to be here and a part of the IWM family. And I'm going to be painting my lovely daughter, who also looks like my wife. So that'll be a little bit easier for me. So yeah, I normally spend many hours, just like every artist has been saying, on paintings. And I'll be doing this in less than 55 minutes. So bear with me, and I will start laying down all my washes, and I'll try to explain as much as I can of my process. So starting off, I always use a large flat brush. This is an angled flat brush by Winsor Newton. I have many flat brushes and round brushes that I use. So I love to get as much of the water. This is my photo reference. I love using photos to paint from. It allows me to sit still for many hours. So I'm going to load up my brush, making sure there's hardly any pigment at all on there, but just water. So I just want to, I'm going to go in with the facial tones and just get as much water as I can, making sure that I stay within my lines a bit. If it goes outside the lines, that is fine, because her hair is darker than the values that I'm going to be putting on her face. And I'll try to speak up as much as possible so you can hear. All right, so I think I have most of the areas. I'm not going to go into the neck just yet. Okay, depending on the humidity today, it is absorbing pretty well. Making sure I go along the edge. Okay, now I get to have some fun, and I'll be dropping in some colors. So I mainly use Winsor Newton and a little bit of Daniel Smith. And I love Opera Rose for my pinks. And I use lemon yellow a lot as well. Okay. So I'm going to use my silver brush. So I'm getting a little pool down here. All right, so again, a white face, so I'm thinking about all the blood vessels and red tones that come throughout, but I'm just going to start with, and I'll vary from yellow to light pink to orange and everything in between. But you can kind of see how just one dab at it will start to give me some of those pinks. Her skin tone is so light, so I don't want to saturate it too much. I'm going to let the paper do the talking. So I really like this photo because when I was taking it, the light is hitting her right on the left cheek, and that's what I really want to make sure that I have in place. So you can see how it's pooling down here. I'll just take a clean brush and mop up that. So we're starting to get some of the values and the lightness. I'm not worrying too much at this point. And it's all coming down the page, which is fine. So I'm going to kind of move some of that pigment a little bit. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of darkness right on the nose. So yellow ochre and opera rose. Lots of water at first. I love her freckles, so I'm going to act like I'm painting freckles already. Her skin is so light that I also want to turn that down a little bit so I don't get as much of the run happening. I'm going to start going down into the neck area. There's shadow underneath her hair, which I'll come in darker later. So where the eyes meet the tear ducts, the edges of the eyes, that's going to be a little more pink. Seeing a lot of orange in the shadow up here. Too much. So the fun thing is trying to figure out how to undo what you've done sometimes. So if you have too much, you can just take a dry brush and mop up some of that. And this is kind of where the meditation of water comes in. You start playing with the water and seeing where it's going to flow next. For a first kind of base coat here, this is looking pretty good. Skin is so subtle, especially when it's glowing like hers. Okay, I've got a little bit of a purple shadow, so I like to mix some of my opera rose with cerulean blue or ultramarine. Usually does the trick. Creates those there's a fine line between black and blue eyes and shadows. But you can see how it's drying lighter as I'm working with it. Little shadows in here. And I'm not smudging the paper, I'm lightly tapping notes of color where I feel like there should be. Okay. All right, so underneath the hair, there's skin, and I want to make sure that I have the skin notes, which I will pass over with a darker, fine line a little bit later. So we have ears, one ear showing, and I'm going to a little bit of yellow. I'm still working with my opera rose and lemon yellow. Just a little hint of there. And now that it's drying up a little bit, I'm just going to add a little bit of this yellow ochre just right along the edge where her skin meets her hair. And I want to keep my whitest white. So now I get to use my tissue as a tool and pinch it together just like a brush, and I like to go in and get all these little highlights back while it's still wet. Okay, I'm almost done here with my first layer. I'm going to lighten up this edge, noticing it's a little bit lighter along here, so I'll lighten it up. Lots of tissues used. It's blending together already, so just do a light. Okay, phase one. Since our time is short, I'm going to say it's just about complete. I see a little bit of overlap here because I want to keep the white of the eye. So I'm just going to scrub a little bit. Carrie in our last demonstration showed how to do scrubbing and blending, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. I just brought back a little bit of that white of the eye. And I don't mind that there's some pink on the right side. I'll just lift a little bit right over here. Okay. Happy for now. All right, good enough. Thank you for your patience. All right, I'm still going to leave it totally flat. All right, let's go into the hair, and then I'll work back into the face again, and then into the eyes. All right, I'm going to use my number 12 silver black velvet round. I'm going to mix burnt sienna and burnt umber. Your hair is a mixture, and I try to deep dive into the hair and see how many colors can I bring out of that. I see red, I see ultramarine blue, I see burnt sienna, burnt umber. And I'm going to kind of put it all in this bottom section and see what I can come up with. All right, before I do that, I'm going to get as much water on my flat brush. And do a little wet into wet and let it fade out. Her hair is very light, almost two different colors on this side, but I'm going to try to get it as close as possible where the light is hitting. Making sure I don't really go too far into my face. So her hair is starting right underneath the earlobe, coming down. That should be good. It's all nice and wet. And if you tilt your page, you can see the glimmer or the shine of the water, and that's where I know where I put down water. All right, let's go for it. So I've got about 4 colors on my brush. And let the water, it's going to follow the river of lines. A little more burnt umber in there. And this is the fun part about watercolor, letting it do its thing. I'm going to let it drip right off the page, create more of that effect. Trying to get the general value, and then I can go over this for hours with tiny brushes if I wanted to, or you can keep it light and loose. Cerulean blue and ultramarine blue. I'm seeing the transition of color up here. Let's let that fade a little bit. Is everybody nervous now? It's not going to go into the eye. All right, multi-colored hair, but that all changes in time. Just want to make sure I have enough of that base coat. Just like the face, I made a kind of a base coat. All right, I want to work the left side. Well, I still have lots of darks in the... I'm going to get some Payne's Gray and Burnt Umber. This is still very wet. I'm seeing a little more red, so upper rose in there. Okay, I'm going to get clean my brush a little bit better. Get some yellow ochre, upper rose. The paper is drying a little bit, so it's not running as much. That'll be fine. Okay, good base coat. All right, let's work the left side. Lemon yellow, yellow ochre. Go with my lightest lights. Her hair in shadow has yellow ochre and burnt sienna, a little burnt umber. And she has kind of a jean jacket on. So that's the light, very light color of cerulean blue. At the top here, just to show a hint of her jacket is right. Okay, I'm going to use the hair dryer. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, you can see me multitasking. So now I'm going to actually start on the eyes because of time, work my way down to the lips, and then back to the hair just because of time. I'm going to leave some of my puddles to maybe reuse. Okay, I'm looking deep into the iris, and there was wallpaper that was green reflecting on her eyes. Her eyes are actually blue. So I get the choice of doing green or blue. I'm going to go for blue. And now I'm going to downgrade my brush to a number 4 silver brush. Lightest light, I'm going for a cerulean blue. I'm going to lift some of that color so I can just get a hint of that. Left side is in shadow, so it'd be a darker blue, but I'll still start off with blue. Okay, I'm going to work with it while it's wet. So I'm going to get some ultramarine blue. It's the tiniest bit. We got Payne's gray around the iris. The pupil, I'm going to do full Payne's gray. Occasionally I'll use black in a painting, but mainly Payne's gray. All right. Thinking while I'm mixing constantly. So Payne's gray with cerulean blue around the edge for shadows. Then I'll go back over the iris edge with some more Payne's gray. I'm going to jump to the other one while that's drying. Cerulean blue. A little darker cerulean blue along the edge. Now, again, I could mask off little specks of white. I'm going to try to leave some white areas. And I see a little yellow in there. This is where I'd have fun doing a whole hour on just this eyeball. But time is not permitted. I'm going to do a couple dots of reflections. Okay, while the eyeball is drying just a tad, I'm going to start adding my pinks around the tear ducts. I mean, it is bright red right there. I'm kind of like lightly dry brushing just to show a little hint there. Okay, and yeah, let's get some shadows here. Race against the clock. I really want to keep the eyeballs white. It's a little off-white as it goes around. Okay, I'll work back. So now I'm going to pop the eyeball, the iris as clearly defined as possible with that hard. These will help. Okay, still keeping that round edge. It's a little in shadow as the eyelid comes over. All right, so I'm going to put the pupil in. That'll make her look more human. Okay, it's a good start. I'm going to put in a little bit of yellow ochre, yellow, and opera rose. Get some shadows. Very pink on the underside of her eyelid. And this is where it just draws me out, and I have to force myself not to work outside of her eye. Then you get on rabbit trails. But you can see how one thing leads to the next. Lift out some of that pink. All right. Let's go down to the lips. And this is kind of how I work at a slower pace. I let things dry and I move around. Probably like yourself, if you're learning watercolor, you want to let things dry. Okay, we have a general light color of opera rose is what I'm using, but it's pink. It could be, if there's lipstick, could be alizarin crimson. I just try to find the lightest pink I can find. I'm just gonna literally almost block it in. And I'm going to do wet into wet since we are moving right along. So the darkest part of her lip, I'm going to go for burnt sienna. Sorry, burnt umber and opera rose. My water's running a little bit. I could, again, work on these lips for a long time, but I'm just gonna let that dry for a minute. Really liking the painterly qualities that I see in this one, even if I am working quickly. I'm going to go back up into the hair and do some detailing and have fun with that. I have a rosemary brush, and I believe it's called a cat's claw or Point Series 46, and it has a little kind of cat claw on there. So that creates a fine edge line. I like to use that for hair. I also use many different small brushes, Zero by Princeton and number 660. Very fine, tiny details, but that's probably for another day. So let's get this cat's claw into the paint. I'm seeing yellow ochre, yellow, burnt umber. There's a fine line between too much paint on this brush and not enough. You almost want a dry brush, but you also need enough water to make it move to create those simple lines. And let's go a little darker for the right side. And it's good to practice before you actually touch the paper. So if you push down too hard, you'll get a thicker line. I don't mind that. I like variety. Just up to you. And you have to be careful you don't scrub your palm of your hand into it as well. You can also use the very end of it if you want to. There's so many different ways to use this. Starting to get the look that I want. I'm going to go down here. I'll do a little bit down here. If you see there's a flow happening, and I'm trying to keep in that flow. It's kind of like a river, an S curve. And for the left side, just a little bit of hint. Okay, now I get to choose. Oh, there's a little darker here. I'm going to try a different brush just to change things up and see what happens here with this side. Okay, I'm going to go back into the eyes, to the neck, she's still a little bit flat, so I need to change some values. So let's do a little bit of water into here. Her skin is meeting her jacket, creating orange. So this is a mixture of yellow ochre, lemon yellow. Draw that water out. A little more orange along her hair. And I need to clean off my palette soon to make sure I have some more real estate. All right, so I'm jumping around, letting things be. You can see I'm starting to build up color, making her values pop a little bit more. I kind of think of it as blueprints. You put down your blueprints for your house, and then you start building. I'm going to warm up a shadow that I see in the tip of her nose. A little bit more orange, pink. Okay, let's define the edge of her face with the blue shadow that I see with Opera Rose right along the edge. A little bit of shadow here. And don't forget that powerful shadow. It's powerful to me, maybe not to you, but I see how the light is hitting her face, and you need to make sure you get all those little shadows in place. It's a little more pink right there. Underneath your hair, a little more shadow. I'm going to try to work extra fast now that we're in the closing. I can feel that we are getting near. I'm using the side of my brush, and it really helps to move the paint around. Cleaning off constantly, trying to pull it all together, trying to think of it as a whole. Here, let's just really get bold again, and these darks, burnt umber, Opera Rose. Maybe ultramarine blue a little bit there. Use the very edge of this. Notice I'm not going 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to do 1, 2, and then skip. You don't want anything to look too uniform. Nothing robotic. Her eyes, I want to come forward just a little bit more. So let's get that cerulean blue going again. Okay, everything is wet, so I have to be careful. I'm going to go over the top of that with Payne's Gray. Not too much. And to make her even more human, let's give her some eyelashes. All right, I have to do it. I got to give her a little green in the... Now that it's sitting there for a little bit, let's push it around a little bit. Just kind of dancing lightly on the page, trying to tap those colors back into place. A little lemon yellow top. As things dry, they're leaving lines, so I'm just going to lighten some of those up a little bit. All right. I said I was going to do the eyelashes, and so here you go. They're so fine that I'm going to go with my smallest brush. Really load up the pigment. This is Payne's Gray, Opera Rose. Creates a nice dark pink, purple, because Payne's Gray has blue in it. Okay, for the lower eyelids, they're a little bit lighter, so maybe not as much pigment on your brush. See if I can work in my last little shadows into the eye. Reflecting from curtains out of a window. Defining edges. Full Opera Rose right out of the tube. Tons of pigment on my brush as I define that edge. That'll help bring her lips forward, give her more dimension. You can see as I keep working, I'm just building up layers and leaving things lost in areas. But I am enjoying it so far. I mean, there's even little shadows here if you want to drop in. A little more shadow here. Bring the lips forward. You just start analyzing all the lights and darks. Let's do I'm mixing grays to try to finish off some of these shadows and lines here. I'm going to use the angle large brush. Still want some more dark hair. I'm not happy with that. I want to bring her forward. There we go. few extra hairlines. Fading into the distance. To the last second, I see just a little bit more shadow right here. Using lemon yellow from what's left over, and there's lights shining through her hair, spraying out. Still a little more orange down here where her neck. Just filling in all the gaps where I needs molding. Thank you. What do I want to finish off with? Okay, let's get some more. A little more detail on the lips and I'm just working back in the final little dots of red, pinks, trying to bring the eyes together. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ericson.
Thank you.